Hello everybody, it is Tom and welcome to another video. So it is now December. Great. Today in Chicago we're having the coldest day we've had thus far in the season, which is still nowhere near like the coldest that it will get. It's above 0. It's in double digits still. We're fine, but it's still the coldest day that we've had so far. And so naturally, when I woke up this morning, there was no heat. Usually the radiators in my quite small apartment are on like overdrive. I have no control over how much heat they produce. They can either be completely on or completely off. And usually they are just like blasting heat. Like it is 90 degrees in my apartment in the dead of winter, which is better than the alternative. And I can open the windows, but it's still like I'm used to being very warm. So last night I was like, you know what? I don't want to sweat under my blankets. I'm going to sleep on top of the blankets because I know the heat is going to be on and it's going to be 90 degrees and I'm going to be sweating. So I did that, and naturally, the heat did not come on. This whole day, the heat has been out, which is wonderful on the coldest day of the year. So as a result, I got out my space heater while I was making breakfast this morning. So I had it on. I'm like, yeah, this is fine. This is cozy. I'm sure the heat will come back on soon. And if it doesn't, I'll call them up when the office opens. So I'm walking around in my slippers, wearing a cozy hoodie, which I don't often get to do because, again, it's usually 90 degrees in my apartment. So it's been so long since I've used my space heater, and I've actually never used it in this apartment in the kitchen at the same time as my toaster oven. You may sense where this is going. So I'm making my toast and I'm getting toasty from the heater, and suddenly the heater turns off. I'm like, oh no. Did my heater finally break? I've been afraid that it would because it was cheap and bought online. So I'm fiddling with it like, oh, well, let me try it in a different outlet. So I tried it in a different outlet. No, it's still not working. Damn, I guess it's broken. And then I notice, that in fact, none of the outlets in the vicinity are working because I have managed to flip the breaker by doing the very silly thing of having both the toaster oven and the space heater running from the same outlet. So in my previous apartment, the breaker box was actually inside the apartment, which was great. I could just like go shoop shoop and we're good. But in this one, I have no idea where the breaker box is. So I'm like, okay, it must be in the basement somewhere. So I go down to the basement, the laundry room. I put on my coat. I put on my hat. I'm like bundled up and looking through the basement. Nowhere. Luckily, the fuses that blew were in the kitchen, but were not the refrigerator. Somehow, miraculously, the refrigerator, despite being just a few feet away from all the ones that blew, was still working. So that's good. So refrigerator was working, but it took out the microwave. The stove still works because it's a gas stove. So overall, it took out the dishwasher though. So microwave and dishwasher out of service, fridge and stove still working. So overall, pretty good, pretty good. So I sent in a maintenance request. I'm like, I know it's just the breaker that's flipped, but I have no idea where the breaker boxes are. I went through the whole basement. I can't find them, etc. So yeah, so this morning I've been snuggled up by my space heater. I have not been able to use the microwave, so I heated up the oat milk for my matcha latte on the stove and felt like a pioneer because of course that's what the pioneers did when they wanted to make a matcha latte. So like this this has been my first world winter morning. But yeah, so a little while ago the maintenance guy came over and was like, hey, do you want me to show you where the breaker box is? And I'm like, yes, please. So it turns out at the back of the apartment there's a secret door which mysteriously I was never told about, but which my key does work for, my building key. So in there is the boiler and all the breaker boxes. So I now know where to go should this happen again. Hooray. So that's good news. But yeah, the reason for this video was that I wanted to catch up with you folks and tell you what's been going on lately, and also talk about the fact that somehow this is my 200th video. I should have led with that. Like, did anyone stick around through the lengthy story of the breaker box, which was so riveting? But yeah, this is my 200th video. So for a while I was like, well, I have to make sure that the 200th video is something really special. So I did not post anything because I was like, what could it be? What could it be? But at this point, I'm just like, you know what? Just post a video and then you can figure out how to celebrate later. So this is the official 200th video. 200th currently posted video, let's say. So yeah, some ideas I had for celebrating. One idea I had was there are a few videos that I posted on this channel that I later switched over to private because they are from pre-testosterone. I thought I might do a reaction to one of them, like watch one of them, but not sure if I'm going to do that. Another possibility, I was thinking, like, what if I boot The Sims back up again and see how the Heartstopper gang are doing in The Sims that I have not touched for years? Possibility. Another one, classic Heartstopper coloring stream using the Heartstopper coloring book. Might do that. Or I might just end up doing nothing because that's what I do sometimes. But those are things I'm thinking about. So if you have any thoughts on that, let me know. Other things that have been going on this past week was Thanksgiving. Usually my Thanksgivings are a bit lonely because I don't have any family in the area. My family is spread out all over the country and I can't afford to go, swanning off to visit them all the time. So Thanksgiving I spent alone, but the week before, luckily, I got to have a Friendsgiving. 2 of my friends came over. We had a lovely vegan meal, and it was delicious, and that was very nice. It made it a lot easier to get through, like, the potential sadness of the day, because Thanksgiving, very problematic holiday in general, but the idea of it, of coming together with family, eating a lot of great food, and focusing on what you're thankful for, that made it my favorite holiday for a really long time. So it's unfortunate that I usually don't get to spend it with anyone except myself and Darla, which Darla's great, but she's not the best dinner companion. So yeah, so being able to have a little Friendsgiving really helped, and I'm glad I invited people over instead of just being sad and alone. And speaking of sad and alone, I usually am not a huge fan of the Christmas season because, again, I'm usually alone and sad. There's someone right outside the door, and I'm like, I don't want you to hear what I'm talking about, even though I'm going to post this on the internet where anyone can see it. Like last year, Christmas season was just the worst for a variety of reasons, some of which I got into in my video about what happened to this channel, which you can still watch. I don't know why I said still. You can watch it. It's up. It's a few videos before this one. Last year, my younger brothers were both going to be in California, where one of them lives and the other sometimes lives. And so they told my mom, like, oh, you should come join us. And so she, on a whim, decided to go join them. And so I'm like the only one who has not been invited. And I was very sad about that, even though it wasn't in any way a spiteful thing. It was just a case of like them assuming correctly that I don't have a lot of money and probably could not pick up and go across the country for last minute family Christmas, but it still would have been nice to be asked. So this year, same thing happened, but my mom asked me to come because I may have mentioned that not getting invited last year was kind of not great for my mental health. So she did ask me if I wanted to come along, and with some financial assistance from my stepdad, who is amazing and an amazing person, and not just because he throws money at me when I need it, but yeah, so with financial assistance from him and my mom, I am going to be able to travel to California for Christmas this year and be packed into a house with my brother and his wife and his kids and my mom and my other brother. So we'll see how that goes. I have like a reasonable amount of anxiety about it, just because traveling and like being in a place far away from my home and leaving Darla with the cat sitter and all the many things, social anxiety, all the good stuff. But I'm looking forward. Okay, hold on. Anyway, so yeah, so I will get, for the first time in a long time, I'll get to spend Christmas with my immediate family, which I haven't done in a very long time, not since when my grandparents were alive, which I have so many great memories of going to my grandparents' place for holidays and celebrations and things like that, and especially for Christmas and Thanksgiving. I mean, my grandparents were great. My grandpa, super chill guy, very funny, very weird in a wonderful way. My grandma, the most wonderful person you could ever meet, and just very homey and cozy place with lots of good food, and we would play games, and like there was never any drama. It was just like a nice environment, which is unusual, I hear. So I do really miss that, which, we'll see how it is this year. Someone walking around outside again. One of the levels of anxiety for me, obviously, is definitely the whole like transition situation where because I don't see my family all that often, it is fairly common for me to be dead named and misgendered when in their presence, which I try very hard not to take personally, but it's also always kind of a blow when it happens. You know, I have to kind of mentally and emotionally prepare myself for that, but I'm hoping it will be a good experience, and I always love seeing my nephew and my niece and the new niece who has appeared. So I'm hoping it'll be a good time, but we'll see. But yeah, so that's one piece of news related to holidays. And then on Sunday, this past Sunday, I went downtown. I left my house. I left my neighborhood. I took a train downtown, which is something I rarely do, and met up with some friends to go to the Christkindl Market, which is an outdoor German-style Christmas market. I need water. Which is an outdoor German-style Christmas market, and it was very cold. I got there a little bit later than they did, because this was the day after a blizzard. We had a blizzard on Saturday, and then on Sunday, I met up with friends downtown, and it had just stopped snowing that morning. So, like, you know, things were moving fairly slowly, and everyone was like, oh, we're probably going to get there late, But of course, they got there right on time, and I was the one who was late, which in my culture is, I don't like being late to things. I always arrive like 10 to 15 minutes early or half an hour early to things just to be sure that I will not be late. And then when I got there, the thing that they do with the Christkindl Market downtown is they have, first of all, they have like this long trail of metal railings that you have to go through to get to the entrance. And then they have a gate that they open and close to limit the amount of people who are inside the market at any time. So I'm walking up, I'm like, okay, I'm late. And the whole way from the train station, I had been stuck behind this very lovey-dovey couple, which, no offense to them, I'm glad they're lovey-dovey, but it was kind of annoying not being able to get out from behind them because they were walking just quickly enough for me to have to stay behind them, and the sidewalk was so icy that I didn't want to walk faster, so I'm stuck behind them the whole way. We get right up to the gate, and bang, it gets slammed right in front of them. So I'm stuck there waiting, like 10 feet away from my friends, unable to get to them for like it was only like 5 minutes, but it felt longer. It was cold. I wanted to get a pretzel. I had to wait. I know. Again, first world problems. Finally, I was released. I joined up with my friends, and I'm like, okay, there isn't much I can eat at the Christkindl Market because there's a lot of like brats and milk-based things. So I'm like, I will get one of the soft pretzels because I enjoy soft pretzels. So usually I get a soft pretzel from the soft pretzel stand, but that was far away from where my friends were, and there was another stand nearby that had soft pretzels. So I'm like, okay, I will get it from here. And the person at that stall was strikingly handsome, with an amazing smile and like a German accent, and just like me. That's me reacting. So it was very nice getting to chat with him and order my pretzel, but unfortunately, the quality of the pretzel was less than stellar. It felt like the last old, almost stale pretzel that they would give to someone before starting a new batch. Like, it was hard, it was cold, it was thin, it was chewy, it was not good. But I ate it because we had reservations at the Walnut Room in Macy's, which apparently is like it's a tradition for my friends, and they invited me along last year and this year, which was cool. So, so we had reservations at 2, and at this point it was like noon, and I usually eat lunch around 11. So like, I need something to get me through until 2 p.m. or however long it'll be until we get food at the Walnut Room. So I'm like gnawing on this pretzel. Yeah, so I had my pretzel, we walked around the market a little bit, and then we went to Macy's and wandered around, got in line to check in for our reservations, and finally sat down. Beautiful interior, great big Christmas tree, staff wearing princess dresses, coming around, being princesses and granting our wishes. So yeah, the Walnut Room has a very fancy menu, because it is a very fancy place. And last year, I got the only thing on the menu that is vegan, that is a main dish, which is the grain bowl. Quinoa and vegetables and like an artful smear of mashed carrots. And so, last year it was really good. It wasn't super filling, but it was very good. So I got it again this year. And it arrives. And I notice, again, it's pretty light. Yeah, we'll do a sweep. Okay, here's Vicky with Vicky's pot pie. Beautiful. Erin ate. How dare she? She's not thinking. We've got turkey number 1. We've got Renee with turkey number 2 and extra gravy. We've got me and the guy who is delivering our meals, also known as the server. The server's like plopping down like turkey, mashed potatoes, green beans, chicken pot pie, all these like hearty meals. And then he gets to me and he's like, going healthy, huh? You're going to be hungry in an hour. I'm like, I know, sir. I wish there was another option, but there's not. So the description of the item on the menu lists all the many wonderful vegetables that are in this dish. Asparagus, carrots, cauliflower, kale, I think. What it did not list was onions, which is good because I cannot have onions. If I have onions, I feel very ill. They do not react well. My stomach, my digestive system rejects the onion. I can sometimes have a little bit and be okay if it's spaced out enough, like I can't have multiple onion meals in a row. But like the menu says there's no onions in this, so I'm fine. So imagine my horror when I look upon the dish and discover it is full of onions. Fully 50% of this plate is onion. So the cauliflower filled with onions, the grains, onions, everywhere onions. So I was able to pick out the ones with the cauliflower because they were quite large. But the ones that were chopped into fine pieces and interspersed amongst the grains, I could not remove. So, like, I just had the worst luck with food on that day. So, like, not only did I have the lightest meal of anyone, but I could only eat, like, half of it because I had to take out all the onions. And I got bonus onions that I couldn't remove. So, like, it was so sad. Like, everyone else had these giant filling meals, and the price of it was the same as theirs. So I'm paying the same amount, the same exorbitant fee for my tiny onion-filled grain bowl, and then everybody got dessert because they have wonderful desserts, but none of them are vegan, so I can't have any of them. So I'm looking around the table at, pie, cake, holiday log, beautiful, delicious, wonderful chocolate cheesecake, and I'm sitting here with my water and my exorbitantly priced green tea, my mountain of onions on my plate, just feeling sad. Now, I will say, it tasted very good. Like, it was very well seasoned, not counting the onions. The onions can go away. But, like, very well seasoned. The vegetables were nice. Everything was very good, but very small, very expensive, and full of onions that hate me. So, yeah, I would really like it if they would add more vegan-friendly options to their holiday menu and their menu in general. Or at least, disclose on the menu that the main ingredient of the dish is onions. I swear it wasn't last year, so I wonder what happened. Like, were they like, nobody orders this, we don't need to stock up, oh shit, someone ordered it, pack it with onions. I don't know what happened, but in any case, it was still very nice. Like, I don't go there for the food, I go there to spend the time with my friends, so that was nice. The environment was nice, the friends were nice, the taste was nice, except for the onions. I don't mind the taste of onions, so it tastes like danger to me now. So after dinner, my friends headed off to the Lincoln Park Zoo to see the zoo lights, which is like a holiday light thing that they do. I headed home on the train, and when I got home, I'm like, okay, I have spent $30 on food today, and it was very unsatisfying. So for a Christmas gift for myself, I always get myself one Christmas gift a year. That's a lie. I get myself way more than that. I tell myself I'm going to get one, and then I get more than that. But I said, you know what? I deserve a nice holiday meal as well. So there's a vegan diner that does some amazing food. So I got mashed potatoes, mac and cheese, and some steamed vegetables, and a slice of chocolate mousse cake. It was less expensive than what I spent, like even including the delivery cost, less expensive than the meal at the Walnut Room, and far more satisfying. So I got to have my lovely holiday meal just a little bit later than everybody else did. That is basically a summary of what I've been up to. So yeah, I'd love to hear what you folks have been up to. What's going on in your lives? Do you have any holiday plans? How do you feel about the holiday season? Give me the tea. What do people say? I don't know. Tell me things. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And if you have any thoughts about the 200 video celebration, let me know. I'm surprised that I have 200 videos. That seems like a lot, but also I've done a lot of videos. So yeah, for a while there, I was doing one video a week. So it does make sense that I would have a lot. Anyway, huge thanks as always to our patrons who are amazing, wonderful, fantastic, spectacular, wunderbar. And a special shout out to our Nick Nelson members, Paul Z, Kim Engel, Kent Smither, Angela Mondragon, and Tanya. Okay, that's going to do it for this video. Hope you're doing well. There will be content that's not just me chatting about stuff, but I hope you enjoy the chatting because I feel like it's a nice time, and I like to hear what you folks have to say and what's been going on with you. So feel free to let me know about that. Also, you may notice my background is a little bit different, and the very cool signed poster of Rain Whispers from the Owl House, signed by the amazing Avi Roque, is trapped behind the lamp. This is temporary because I've had to move some of my furniture around, but this is how it must be for now. So, all right, have a wonderful rest of your day or night or whatever time of day it may happen to be. I'll see you next time. And I hope you're enjoying your early December. I still mourn the end of Halloween, but here we are. So, yeah. Anyway, talk to you later. Bye.